So this is what I knitted in 2025. Or most of it. So this is what I knitted in 2025. Let's start with this one. This is the Hraundrangi sweater by Dagbjört Gudmundsdottir. I knitted this as a companion sweater to my partner's sweater that I knitted in December of 2024. So this sweater is knit with Icelandic unspun yarn, Letloppi, I think. It's honestly one of the most worn pieces of this year because it's gorgeous. I love it. The colours are great. The tension in the colour work is fine. But I was still practicing. I did everything. Did I do everything in the same needle size? I think so. I have washed it once after knitting it after blocking it, because I had a scare with creepy crawlies. So some kind of a larvae or something that had been in contact with yarn. I had been knitting something while wearing this, and then I found something in the yarn that I had been knitting with. And although I don't think that they had been in close contact, I was still too freaked out to leave anything to chance. So I did wash it. It sprang back a bit to the original size. It had grown a little bit in the arms over the year that I wore it, but honestly, it's such a great piece. I wear it all the time. It's shaped with some short row shaping in the back. It's knit bottom up, so I had a bunch of stockinette to do before I started with the colour work. I knit this fairly quickly over the span of weeks, and a lot of the knitting was done on sofas while visiting family, on trains over the Christmas holiday, and it's great. I've worn it a bunch of times together with my partner. So for example, when we were in Tromsø, now over New Year's, we had packed very lightly. We were just travelling with backpacks, and both of us had packed this sweater, and we looked like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and that was the entire point of knitting these sweaters for me. So 10 out of 10, really strong start to the year. Next up is a project that I honestly forgot about until I went digging through my cupboards. This is I think it's the Athena sweater that I instead just knit as a vest. Didn't add the sleeves, otherwise this is exactly what the pattern says to do. I don't like it. I knitted it because I wanted to see if I like sweater vests, and based off of this, I don't. I still haven't really convinced myself that I don't like sweater vests, so I might knit another one in a much finer gauge and without the shaping with the lace pattern in it, because this is an owl, allegedly, and it's just too chunky. It fits the wrong way, too snug but not snug enough, because it's such a thick yarn. I knit this in 100% wool and super chunky needles. Don't love it. Didn't even feel like I needed to put on a proper t-shirt underneath. So this is my Jurassic Park t-shirt that you're seeing underneath. But this was a quick project that I cast on probably in February, January. I think this was the second project after my Hraundrangi. So this was such a letdown. And while I was knitting this, I was also going into a period of being burnt out. So this not being great took a toll on my knitting mojo for the year, or for the start of the year. But then, as one does with being burnt out, I promptly forgot about it because I forgot about everything. And I cast on a new project instead, because I found a designer, Oh My Knits, that I really wanted to knit a dress by. And then while I was browsing her website to get the pattern, because I had seen someone on Facebook, yes, Facebook, I'm that old, knit the Oh My Figure dress. And when I went on the website to find the Oh My Figure dress, I found the Oh My Hyacinth blouse. And I knit it, I blocked it, it was a lot flowier. And then before moving, I washed everything that I wanted to bring because I didn't want to bring any creepy crawlies with me. And I didn't block it after washing that time, so I don't know if it's shrunk or if it is just unblocked. But it's not very flowy anymore. The V-neck is too shallow. It's finished with an I-cord edge, which I think is very neat looking, both around the cuff and the collar, but it's too small. I knit it on a too small of a needle size or the wrong yarn. This is one very thin strand of 100% wool. The recommended yarn is something fluffier and a bigger gauge. So this was a bit of a fail. But it was a good project to get me into lace. I did use a bunch of lifelines, and if I hadn't, I would have probably gone under because, man, knitting without a lifeline when you're burnt out, knitting lace burnt out without a lifeline, that is braver than I will ever be. So, recommend the pattern, don't recommend my execution of it. Next up, I knitted the Oh My Figure dress by Oh My Knits. I posted a video about the process of this. I didn't post a video about knitting it because I knitted before I started my YouTube channel, which I sort of wish I hadn't. But this is one of this year's greatest hits. It's been so good. It's so beautiful. I love it. I get so many compliments wearing it, and it's a fantastic piece. Highly recommend the pattern. It's so thoughtfully written out. It has so many different options for size inclusivity because a body isn't just one size all across. It has different sizes and you can size up and down for different bits of your body. So in this, I think I am a size E around the bust, a size F around the stomach, G for hips and thighs, and H for length. So I modified this pattern a lot and I love it. The only thing that I wish I had done differently is actually paying heed to what increases to do, because I think I fudged with the right or left leaning increases, and one of the sides is looking gapier than the other. I think it's the left side. So I wish that I had done that differently, but otherwise this is a 10 out of 10. I wore it over New Year's, felt great. In really, really cold weather. We were in the northern parts of Norway and I wore it and I was warm and looked cute the entire evening. So highly recommend this pattern. The designer seems great. She has a modification for a V-neck as well, and with this pattern you can do just the top, you can do just a short skirted dress, you can do the skirt as its own, and you can do 2 or 3 different colour variations as well. God, feeling more and more tousled with each garment. This is the camisole number 4 by My Favourite Things Knitwear. I knitted this at the beginning of the summer, and it's one of the first videos that I posted the entire process for. I knitted it in a single strand of Knitting for Olive pure silk in the white or off-white colourway. It's a broken rib cami. It has spaghetti straps. They grow. Everyone says they grow. They grow a lot. Make them shorter if you want to make this pattern. I made them shorter than I thought I needed. I blocked it because I thought, oh, they'll grow a bit more with blocking. Sewed them in, and then I wore it, and I had to take off like this much of length on the straps. The pattern itself is great. It's followable. What I have found out while wearing it is that I don't like the silhouette on me. I do like a v-neck, but this is a strange shape of v-neck for my small chest. I don't like the spaghetti straps either because I feel like the proportions look a bit off for what I like to highlight with my body. I would, if I were to reknit this, I would make the straps thicker, and that sort of takes away some of the design, and therefore I will not knit it again. I am enjoying the pure silk. It's warm and cool at the same time, so it's a very pleasant summer fibre, and I was pleased with how I executed this while coming back from my burnout in the beginning of the year. Next up is another summer knit. This is the Feels Right tee by Lily Kate France. I posted a video about it too. I knitted it on the Isaiah Bomelin yarn, so cotton, linen, viscose, a summer mix at least. And I didn't love how the sleeves flare out, but I didn't do the decrease that was recommended in the pattern either. So if I had done the decreases, I would have gotten a different look, but I don't know that I wanted that look either. So I have kept the pattern. I might reknit it with some modifications with a longer slope for the sleeve. This pattern has you pick up evenly across the 2/3 of the top of the sleeve cap, but I think that I would taper that to get rid of some of the excess fabric right here to make the sleeve a bit more tight fitting and, in my opinion, more flattering, because some of the decreases are made on the outside of the sleeve, and I think that gives a look that I wasn't going for. The pattern designer actually answered my video. She commented on it with some explanation on how the sleeve decreases would work and how the intended pattern would end up. So where I stand with this pattern is that I really like the body portion of it. I like how the shoulders look, how the slope in the back looks with the peaks right here. And I think it's a great base pattern that I will probably go back to and faff around with a bit to get like a really nice fitting t-shirt for my needs. Because bodies are different. Of course, they are going to need different things to fit well. And fitting well, what is that even? That is very, very subjective. So this is a win. I wear it. I wore it a lot during the warmer parts of summer. I've worn it well into November, but then it got too cold. And now I'm feeling a bit nostalgic about warmer weather wearing it. I'm filming this in January, so I would like some warmth, please. We've had so much snow in Sweden the last few weeks, or just last week, and I love it, but my wardrobe is not really equipped for this weather. So I haven't worn my t-shirts at all outside the apartment. This is the first time I'm wearing this in ages. It's the Gemma Polo by Cookie Veneta. I chose the wrong yarn for this. I chose Lana Gatto Super Soft, superwash treated merino wool. I should not have gone with superwash because this is a warm weather knit for me. It's a transitional warm weather, so I would expect me to get a bit sweaty in it. But the superwash treatment prohibits the moisture to be wicked into the fabric. So it sort of just pearls on top of it and sits like you're wearing a fleece and you get a water droplet running down your sleeve and it just doesn't dry up. So it just feels like a terrible, tickly mess on the inside of your sleeve. That is what this is. And that is unfortunate. I like the colorway. I did my best. I tried and I learned a lot. But this is one of the biggest fails of the year. I finished it quite neatly. I even went back and fixed the double knitted edge, sewn edge. Afterwards, when that had sort of blown out a bit, the double knitted button band was interesting for sure, but two of the buttons are too close together, so I can't really button it. If I button it all the way up, you see that the buttons are just very unevenly spaced. But if I wear one of the buttons open, it looks better. But still not the biggest fan. I don't know what I'll do with it either, because it's fine. I mean, I might go back and revisit my opinions about it when it gets warmer, but right now I'm so happy with all of my non-superwash treated sweaters that are warm and don't make me feel icky. After the summer, I had knitted a camisole, a t-shirt and this, and then I went head first into sock knitting. I love knitting socks. I started off with the Melodrama socks by Charlotte Stone. I knitted a pair of Gaza socks with the colourwork repeat all through the entire sock, so not just on the cuff but all through. And I did them with contrasting heels and toes and cuffs, so one has a red and one has a green, and then it's mirrored. I love them. They are great. They are very thick. The yarn is a bit thicker than I would normally use for colourwork knitting or for knitting socks in general. So instead of my normal 72 stitches for a unicolor sock, I knit these with a 64 stitch or 66 stitch circumference, and that worked out well. But the yarn that I used is it's felting, so it's the Järbo collaboration between Astrid Lindgren and her illustrator Elon Wikland, and it's from the colorways of her books or inspired by her books. And after wearing the socks once and washing them, I could tell that the fabric was felting together and pilling a bit. I haven't noticed a lot of pilling after that, and I've worn the socks quite often, so that might have been just the initial situation and now it's fine, or we've hit a plateau. But still, I won't be knitting with that yarn again anytime soon. But then I did knit with the yarn again quite soon because I made a pair of Wicked socks. I self-drafted based on the Broadway poster and made a pair of socks with Glinda and Elphaba together. And then I went in with a duplicate stitch and wrote Wicked, the Wicked logo, on the other shaft. And I did a sparkly, drippy pink toe gradual situation with the pattern. So that was completely free-handed. And I used the same yarn. It felted just the same as the first ones did. And I still wear them because they are pieces of art. I made the first and the last row, so at the very top and the very bottom of the shaft, a bit too tight. The other ones in the middle are fine. They are great when it comes to tension, but those two are a bit difficult to get over my heel, so it's not a very graceful experience when I start putting them on. Over the summer, or end of summer, I started knitting the Cascade tank top by Lene Rix for my mother's birthday. I knitted it in a cotton linen mix from Sandnes Garn in a dove blue, pewter grey bluish colour. And the pattern itself looks great, but I hated this project. It was so tedious because it's knit with a 3x1 half-twisted rib, and those half-twisted knit stitches followed by 3 purled stitches, or 4, are just terrible. And knitting cables with half twisted rib is also a terrible experience. It was so boring. The pieces where I did the cabling, those were interesting still. And I had the I-cord edging on the sleeve, or the armhole, and the neck hole, the collar. But then knitting the body was just an endless slog of boredom. And I couldn't do anything else while I did it either, because I had to look at my knitting all the time because the yarn is splitty and I needed to remember to twist my knitted stitches. So 0 out of 10 recommend. Then when I gave it to my mother, it ended up being too long in the arm straps or the shoulder straps. So I had to go in and do some sort of surgery. It was the ugliest, most botched job I've ever done. I still haven't brought myself to actually publish the video about it because I was so excited. I was so sure that it was going to be a great video because it looked so intricate. But the end just sucked. Don't recommend. I mean, if you have done it and if you did a better job than I did, kudos to you. Hope you love your project and hope you love your tank top. I never want to see it again. Thank you. And I also have a lot of yarn over. The yarn recommendation, the estimate for the yarn use was way, way, way off. So I have like 3 balls, 2.5 balls left out of 5 or 6. I then continued with my gift knitting for the upcoming Vlogmas and gift giving season. So I made a bunch of socks, and you know what, I'll go sit down on the sofa because I'm feeling quite dizzy. I'm still a bit sick. Hang on. Okay, not sofa but chair. I started with a pair of gingham socks for my sister-in-law. I wanted to freehand a pair of gingham socks based off of a picture of Cool Stitches, who made gingham socks a few years back. I did that, I posted a video about it. She has received them and she loves them. I was not entirely sold on the colorway because I thought it looked like baby poo, but together with the darker brown, it looks quite Barber-esque. So, and since she does wear an oil coat from Barber a lot, it fits, it works with her. And she said spontaneously that she really loves the color combination and she loves that they are mirrored from each other. So one of them has a yellow, brownish yellow as the dominant color and the other one has a dark brown. But you can tell that they are different based on that color dominance difference. So that was a great gift. I'm really happy to have given her them. I also knitted a pair of really big socks for my father. He wears a size 46, and I bought yarn in Norway this summer, which was an alpaca base sock yarn, and he got them on Christmas, and he also got a finer pair of socks from my aunt, who is a very proficient cable knitter. So she always does a little cable on the side of her socks, and you could really tell that these are two different, these socks have 2 different jobs. And the job that my gifted socks have is to keep someone warm, and he has worn them and he has sent me very enthusiastic text messages about it, which that's all I want. I want him to be happy with his warm fluffy socks. But that took ages to knit. I knit it all the way through moving. So when I was sitting in an Uber or waiting for something or dealing with a phone call or the bank to deal with the mortgage, all of those hours were spent knitting my father's Christmas socks. Then I knit my other sister-in-law a pair of merino socks, which are with the same pattern as my camisole number 4, so a broken rib. And I made a long video about it. If you want to see step by step how to knit these socks, go ahead and watch that video because I am really happy with the result, and they are so easy to make. It doesn't include any fancy techniques. It's just knits and purls, picking up and decreasing. That is it. And they ended up being so beautiful. And she loves them. She has also sent me enthusiastic messages about them, and they ended up being the right colour and the right size for her. We wear the same size. Both me and my sisters-in-law have the same size foot, which is great. And I'm so happy that the colour was really good for her too. It's very springy, light blue, leaning green. So it's a very sweet colour. I then knitted socks for my nibblings in legal or emotional terms, my siblings' children. I made a pair of very cursed Charmander socks. I made a pair of quite basic but very pink socks for my other nibbling, and I made a pair of orange socks for a 1-year-old, which I already posted a video about too. What did I do then? I'm having some problem with the chronology of it all because I batch filmed so much before Vlogtober, Vlogmas, so I don't know what I did when, but I'm trying to remember everything off the top of my head, which is not working its best, as I've already said. I knitted a bow. I wanted to knit a little garter stitch I-cord edged bow, and I did. It has been really useful. I've found myself using it quite often just as a bag charm on my backpack, just as a little nod to other knitters, because they will see it and recognize it for what it is. And for someone who doesn't knit, it's just a little ribbon. But I wore it for Christmas when it was just too cold to be fancy looking, but I still wanted to wear something a little festive. I knitted a bunch of teeny tiny socks to hang on my door as an ornament, as a wreath. Those socks are just about ready to come down and go lie in a box until next year because the wreath is looking very old. But the whole experience made me want to knit ornaments even more for next year. Okay, I actually had to go back and look at my video feed because I don't know if I can remember everything that I wanted to talk about. I haven't talked about some of my fails yet, but I'll get to those in a little moment. I then knitted a pair of Christmas socks for myself because I had wanted to knit a pair of more elaborate socks. I failed miserably and I sort of still haven't recovered, but I knit the Drops Forest Spell that I also posted a video about, and those ended up being great. I wore them for Christmas. They are currently in the wash because all of my knitted socks are after these cold days. So I'm currently wearing really thin socks, but those Christmas socks are great. And they were so quick to knit as well. I'm really happy. And the colour work was only, I think, 10 rounds. And then it's just one colour, but they are so striking. So highly, highly, highly recommend those socks if you want to make yourself a pair of really cute, Christmassy, wintry socks. Where did I put my beanie? This is knit in 100% brushed alpaca. It's super loud, it's very fluffy. It's not warm enough to withstand, or it's not dense enough to withstand the wind. So I am going to go back and undo my cast off, probably rip back just a few, like 2 centimeters, because this is how I want it to fit, but I want the brim to be a lot bigger, and reknit it holding the yarn double. I still have a lot of the yarn left, so I will get around to that in an amount of time that is unspecified. But it's really loud. I love it. It ended up being just the aesthetic that I wanted, and now I want to make it even more. I want to make the brim even taller, and I want it to be even thicker, so the silhouette is going to change a little bit. But I went off of a Pearl Soho pattern, and then I modified it heavily, and I talked you through all of the modifications that I did and how I ended up making the pattern based off, or the beanie based off the pattern. So check out Pearl Soho Classic Ribbed Hat, and if you want to, I posted a video and you can watch it to see how to do a very chunky version of it. I then knitted another ornament or another decoration, which is a string light wall hanging. I loved the idea. When I saw it, I knew immediately that I wanted to make it for myself. I had the perfect needles for it, a pair of double pointed needles that I only had 2 of, that are super chunky, that I'm not going to wear for anything else. I'm not going to use for anything else. And they make for a great wall hanging. I still haven't decided where to hang it, but the wall hanging is one of the joys of this year when it comes to my knitting, and I am so excited to hang it up and to have it on display very soon. And then I have the 2 fails that I didn't get around to finishing, or that I have to redo completely. As I said, the Christmas socks, they were not meant to be this time around. I couldn't figure out the gauge, but I already knitted 2 entire shafts before I blocked them, and the first version with a 2.5mm needle was too small, and then I sized up to a 3, thinking that that's going to give me, it's going to give me 20% increase, right, and then it didn't, and it was still too small, and then I cannibalized it for the white yarn to make my forest spell socks, so I just have like a cuff and a half, or a shaft and a half. So I am nearly convinced that I will knit them into cuffs, and I will give them to my mother-in-law for her birthday that is coming up, because waist knot, want knot, they are beautiful. The tension that I managed is so neat. I'm so proud of that. So I would love for them to actually come in handy and be used by someone, but they are not going to be used by me. And then the last quite big fail is my Wanderer pullover that I was knitting for my partner for Christmas that ended up being too small. I had measured it against one of his existing sweaters, and I still messed it up just a little bit. And now that I am reknitting it, I increased the stitch number by, I think, 12 stitches or something like that, 15, to make it fit properly. And also I'm knitting it in the round, so that does eliminate some of the bulkiness and gives a bit more space where the seams, otherwise the seams take a little of the circumference. So I am reknitting it in the round. I have completely finished the body up until where you join the sleeves, and I have completely finished one sleeve. So I am now knitting on the second cuff, and I will be knitting and finishing the second sleeve with this yarn. I think I should go about and rip this out, frog it. I didn't, or did I? Did I sew in my ends already? I think I might actually have sewn in my ends, because I wanted to be good about sewing in my ends, and now I have to rip them all out. Yep. So the only ends that are active are for the raglan seams, which are just sort of basted together, because I knew that I wasn't going to have time to do a proper job, and I just wanted to give him something that was finished-ish. But I was ambitious enough to weave in all of my ends. So I'm going to have to unpick all of those. Yay for me. But I am very happy with how my colour work in knitted flat looked. It looks very, very neat and the tension is good. I am proud of my consistent colour dominance and how I worked that out, and I did some small design tweaks with how the colour should progress, and I think that the second version is going to be great. But that is everything that I knitted in 2025. I am excited to share Knitting 2026 with you, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. This is a lot. I knitted a lot in 2025. I was burnt out. I was out of a job all summer, and I was on sick leave for another month and a half in the spring because I quit my old job, was on sick leave, and then had a new job lined up, but after the summer holidays or summer vacation. So I was just waiting for my job to start, and while I was waiting, I did a lot of knitting. So super excited about 2026. Thank you for sticking around if you did. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you knitted more than I did, great for you. If you knitted less than I did, great for you. If you haven't knitted a single stitch in your life, 2026 is your year. We are here. The knitting community welcomes you. Or the crochet community, or the fibre art community in general. We welcome you. Love to have you. Ask all the questions. Look at all the things. Learn all the things. I have a bunch of videos that you can watch if you want to. With that said, I hope you had a rad start to your 2026, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care of yourself. Bye.